Many of us like to watch almost enemies develop feelings for each other. Welcome to Anime Dynasty. And today, we bring you top 10 anime where a girl hates and then loves a guy. Please give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. So, let's get on to the list. Starting off, we have Fuka. The story follows Yu Haruna, a loner and avid Twitter user that made a promise with his childhood friend Koyushi Hinashi of starting a band. One night, on his way to buy dinner, he stops to take a photo to upload to Twitter. A strange high school girl named Fuka Akitsuki accidentally bumps into him and mistakenly believes that Yu is trying to take a photo of her panties, which causes her to smash his phone. Fuka leaves behind a CD, which Yu returns the following day. Appreciating Yu's personality, Fuka starts a relationship with him. Next up we have Undefeated Bahamut Chronicle. Lux, a former prince of an empire named Arcadia that was overthrown via a rebellion 5 years earlier, accidentally trespasses in a female dormitory's bathing area, and he sees the kingdom's new princess Lisa Shart naked, incurring her wrath. She then challenges Lux to a drag ride duel. Lux used to be called the strongest drag knight, but now he's known as the undefeated weakest drag knight because he will absolutely not attack in battle. After his duel with Lisa Shart, Lux ends up attending the female-only academy that trains royals to be drag knights. Coming up next we have So, I Cant Play H. Never make a deal with a wet goddess you've only just met. That's a lesson Ryosuke learns the hard way, when he foolishly agrees to let Lysara Restole use some of his essence to stay in this world. Because despite her smoking hot appearance, Lysara's actually a Shinigami, a goddess of death. She sucks him dry of something much more perverse, by leeching off his lecherous spirit, and draining his ability to enjoy the things that teenage boys normally spend most of their time thinking about. And now that he's been de-debased and de-debauched by her undirty trick, the poor regenerated degenerate's only hope of getting his licentiousness renewed is to join the Queen of Mental Clean on her quest, since when she leaves our mortal plane, he regains his normal immorality. Up next we have Kaguya No Stigma. Kazuma Yagami is a user of Fujutsu, the ability to control the wind. He returns to his old home, the noble Kanagi household, after being banished 4 years ago for his inability to control fire, and his subsequent defeat in a duel at the hands of his younger cousin, Ayano Kanagi. Returning after such a brutal exile already gives rise to many conflicts, but to make matters worse, several Kanagi family members have recently been murdered with Fujutsu. This leads the Kanagi family, including the hot-headed Ayano, to suspect Kazuma as the culprit. Now, Kazuma must not only clear his name, but also aid the family he shares a mutual hatred with, to discover the true identity of the killer. Next up on the list we have The Ambition of Oda Nobunaga. High school student Yoshiharu wakes up and finds himself in the middle of a raging Sengoku period battle. He is saved by the legendary Hideyoshi Toyotomi, but at the cost of the hero's life. With his dying breath, the warrior pleads for Yoshiharu to become a feudal lord in his place. Now that the course of history has been changed, Yoshiharu pledges to keep the timeline from diverging any further. Yet, after rescuing Nobunaga Oda, Yoshiharu realizes he has been transported to an alternate reality where most of Japan's historical warlords are now cute girls. To set things right and find a way back home, Yoshiharu agrees to become one of Nobunaga's retainers and assist her in a conquest of Japan.
Luis, お前。
うるさいのよ。もったいないじゃない。
Coming up next we have the familiar of Zero. Louise is a self-absorbed mage in a world of wands and royalty. Although she studies at a prestigious school for magicians, she has a major problem. Louise is unable to cast magic properly, earning her the nickname of Louise the Zero from her classmates. When the first-year students are required to perform a summoning ritual, Louise's summoning results in a catastrophic explosion. Everyone deems this to be yet another failure, but when the smoke clears, a boy named Saito Hiraga appears. Now Louise's familiar Saito is treated as a slave, forced to clean her clothes and eat off the ground.
Saito-san にしか頼めない。だからお願い。どう、Saito-san、本物っぽくない理由わかる？
すべてを片付ける。
Next up on the list is Shakugan Noshana. The world has become a slaughtering ground for the Crimson Denizens, mysterious beings from a parallel universe who thrive on the life energy of humans. These merciless murderers only leave behind scant remainders of souls called torches, which are mere residues that will eventually be destroyed, along with the very fact of the victim's existence from the minds of the living. One fateful day, Yuji Sakai ceases to be a regular high schooler. He becomes trapped in a crevice of time and is suddenly attacked by a denizen. Coming to his rescue just in the nick of time is a nameless hunter who seems no different from an ordinary young girl, except for her blazing eyes and burning crimson hair.
Yuji, 私は大交代とは私が戦う。他の
春、それなら。てめえのせいでマルコは死んだ。春、店の中で暴れんなっつってんだろ。だってに。
Now we have My Little Monster. Shizuku Mizutani is apathetic towards her classmates, only caring about her grades. However, her cold view of life begins to change when she meets Haru Yoshida, a violent troublemaker. He isn't much different from her, though he too understands little about human nature and doesn't have any friends. Much to Shizuku's surprise, he proclaims that she will be his friend and immediately confesses his feelings towards her upon meeting her. Because of her lack of friends and social interaction, Shizuku has a hard time understanding her relationship with Haru. But slowly, their friendship begins to progress, and she discovers that there's more to Haru than violence.
だって雫、俺が好きになったら付き合うって言った。
いつの話だ。
いいじゃねえか。それで万事解決。
私の意見は無視か。
じゃ、
アセくん。手伝ってくれて。
Up next we have One Week Friends. 16-year-old Yuki finally finds the courage to speak to his crush and asks her if he wants to become friends. The object of his affection, Kaori, doesn't spare him the same blunt rejection she gives everybody else. Sometime after, Yuki finds her eating lunch on the roof where she secludes herself during break. He decides to start meeting with Kaori every day in the hopes of beginning to understand her better. The more time they spend together, the more she begins to open up to him. However, nearing the end of the week, she starts to push him away once more. It is then revealed to him the reason for Kaori's cold front. At the end of the week, her memories of those close to her, excluding her family, are forgotten.
夏休み、あんまり会えない？
なんであんな無茶なこと言い出したの？
あれしかお前と関わる方法がなかった。
は？
部活がなくなるともう接点がないから。
On top of the list, we have Origairu. Hachiman Hikigaya is an apathetic high school student with narcissistic and semi-nihilistic tendencies. He firmly believes that joyful youth is nothing but a farce, and everyone who says otherwise is just lying to themselves. In a novel punishment for writing an essay mocking modern social relationships, Hachiman's teacher forces him to join the Volunteer Service Club, a club that aims to extend a helping hand to any student who seeks their support in achieving their goals. With the only other club member being the beautiful Ice Queen Yukino, Hachiman finds himself on the front line of other people's problems, a place he never dreamed he would be.
休みの日でもあまりしないけれど。
は？何こいつ？